Hi, welcome to another edition of Bauer Business Bites. My name is David Tighe, Managing Director of Bauer Media here in Northern Ireland. And each week we take a look into the world of business. This week we're concentrating on the live music events and entertainment sector. And I'm really pleased to be joined by Joe Dougan, who's the Chief Promoter at Shine. Joe, welcome to Business Bites.
Brilliant. Thank you, David. Good to see you.
It's great to have you along. Just for the uninitiated, just tell us, Shine is the company name, but how would people know Shine in the big wide world?
Yeah, so Shine is sort of the overall company. Some of the stuff that we do locally, we own the Limelight venues. We also promote the Belsonic and Custom House Square outdoor events. We do concerts all around Northern Ireland. We manage artists as well. It's quite a lot of different threads to the business, but I guess the main customer facing ends of that are Belsonic, Custom House Square, and then the Limelight venues as well.
Okay, so I think that's probably answered that question fairly and squarely for us. So let's talk about the live entertainment, live music business, which you are heavily involved with. I mean, really, it must have been one of the most impacted sectors, if not the most impacted sector, along with perhaps pubs and entertainment venues like that. So how are you coping?
Well, obviously, it's been incredibly challenging. It's been nobody obviously was expecting this, but it's just been surprising how permanent the whole thing has felt over the last year. And when you say that, I guess we're going to be, we've been one of the worst affected sectors. The most challenging part of that is that when hopefully society goes back to normal over the next few months, we will be probably the most affected on a long-term basis as well, because of, I guess, the lead time for what we do. For an international concert, we would usually have, or an international act, we would have a 12 to 18 month lead in to that. So let's say we get the green light in July, August to start running concerts again. It'll be at least a year lag before we can start properly staging concerts again, other than the things that have been rescheduled from last year. So I guess there's going to be a lot of challenges along those lines. But the biggest thing, I guess, has been just the fact that we haven't been able to schedule anything, but also that we currently don't have the ability to do so either. We're just having to remain pretty positive and optimistic about the future.
Yeah, and of course you've got the added confusion of having to still administer thousands of tickets and transactions, but yet you don't have something necessarily confirmed at the end of it at the moment. How's that working?
Yeah, well, I think that one of the things that we've noted is the goodwill of the audiences. I think everyone understands that it's a very difficult predicament to be in for a promoter or for any event organizer when we don't have certainty about when these are going to go ahead. And this has been the case globally as well. People have shown that they're prepared to hold on to their tickets for the inevitable reschedule of these events whenever that can be. And our hope is that is going to be as soon as possible. And I guess people want the ticket in their hand for the prospect of the reschedule, knowing that they'll be able to go out and enjoy themselves again. And I think that has mattered a lot to people during this lockdown, especially that people know that there's light at the end of the tunnel and that they've got access to basically as soon as possible to live entertainment, because I think people have missed it hugely.
So I must ask you then, with that in mind, what is the latest information on Belsonic and the Custom House Square events for 2021?
Well, again, we have these summer events scheduled. Many of them are sold out. Some of them are still on sale. A lot of fantastic acts on there as well. And like the rest of the UK and Ireland, we're keeping an eye on the government advice. With Northern Ireland, currently, we have this phased roadmap without attributed dates or indicative dates at the moment for the release of the lockdown. And I guess we need to hang back and see what the government advice is going to be at each of these I believe they're reviewing it every 4 weeks. So we just need to see what the likelihood of a quick progression through those stages would look like for us. I guess if we're very optimistic that we're going to be able to operate concerts this summer, and our plan is to do so as soon as it is practicable and safe to do so. And hopefully that'll be June, July time. If it's later than that, the way it's planned to be in the UK with Isle of Wight Festival, Reading and Leeds, all of these massive events that are again planning to go ahead, we will go along with that plan. But our current plan is to go ahead and make sure that there's plenty of live music this summer in Belfast.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck. We wish you the best of luck with it. We're all rooting for you and for the events industry. And obviously, safety and health and safety of any individual is extremely important to a promoter like yourself. There have been examples across the world of events that have been attempted in various controlled circumstances. Have you considered, a sort of a version of any of those?
Well, again, we're chatting to our partners in the UK, a lot of our friends that work in venues like the O2 Arena and the Royal Albert Hall that are piloting new forms of mitigation for any of these COVID risk factors. We are hoping that there's going to be a sort of a tranche of new pilot events happening in the UK from the 1st of April, and that'll basically continue for I believe almost 2 months. And the idea being to try and get as much data as we can about how the virus can be managed. And I think the hope is that once that data starts to come in, that the same thing will happen in Northern Ireland, and we can begin piloting our own events with a view to getting back to normal business as soon as is possible. But this is, again, something that we would be working with in tandem with the executive and public health, and just making sure that everybody's on the same page, because the thing that is of most importance to us here is the safety of the customers, and just that we don't have any potential to backslide into lockdowns or any reductions in public mixing. Again, we want this to be the end of the periods of lockdown, and we want to be able to bring people safely back to our events. So the pilot events aren't far off, hopefully, but we've been keeping a close eye on, especially what's going on in London. The rest of Europe has, especially Amsterdam, Paris, and so on, have run some very interesting and progressive events. But at the end of the day, it will come down to what's happening in London and other larger cities in the UK that will provide the example and the rationale for what we do in Belfast and the rest of Northern Ireland.
So if you were speaking on behalf of the live music and events industry, of which you are a significant part of here in Northern Ireland, what would your message be to the decision makers who are reviewing situation on a week by week and month by month basis now? What message would you give on behalf of those people in Northern Ireland to those decision makers?
Well, I think there's live music and live entertainment is a huge contributor to both the Northern Irish economy and to the happiness of the population. And I think that our executive has that firmly in mind as well. They've been engaging with the sector and making sure that there's active discussions about a path forward for our events, our venues, and all of our other activities as well. So my hope is that again, we can engage meaningfully with the relevant government bodies to try and get these pilot events up and running as soon as is safe and practicable, and that we can start building a pathway back to normality for our events. And we're prepared to again make sure that whatever we're doing is safe, but also we just want to bring people back to some amount of normality. I think that the entertainment is so important to the Northern Irish people, and we want to get back there as soon as possible.
Well, I think you and many thousands of others are waiting for that day and waiting for that announcement to come, and we hope that it comes soon for you and everyone working in the industry. Joe, thanks for being our guest this week.
My pleasure.